When I think about why do I speak, why do I like to get in front of audiences and talk to them about the things that I believe in, the things that I've learned in my career, I always think about Amy Cuddy's TED Talk, which is the most watched TED Talk ever, I believe. Her last slide in that talk says this: tiny tweaks create huge impact. Now, I've never met an audience where there weren't people in that audience, and most of the people in that audience that weren't looking for a new idea. Just give me an idea that will help me be successful. So when I think about speaking, I think about my obligation is, number one, to understand that audience, and number two, to understand how can I share with them ideas that will help them have these tiny tweaks that will create big impact, and hopefully get them to understand that everything matters and that they make a difference in this life. The question is, what kind of difference do they make? So I speak about essentially 5 things. I speak about how do you create sales excellence by thinking like a customer. And that's built on my best-selling book, Stop Acting Like a Seller, Start Thinking Like a Buyer. Now, the next thing I speak about is how do you build, leverage, and maintain valuable business relationships with people that you don't naturally connect with. And that's based off of my book, The Relationship Edge in Business. The third thing I speak about is how do you set and achieve stretch goals? How do we achieve the things that we are destined to be able to do, yet most of us have no concept of how to go about doing that in a meaningful, intentioned, and disciplined way. The fourth thing I speak about is leadership. And I like to focus on 2 leadership topics. One, how do you lead without authority? I think the most powerful skill in any organization that a person can have that wants to excel in that organization is, how do you lead without authority? How do I lead when I don't have people who are doing everything I say because I'm their boss? I mean, boss spelled backwards is double S-O-B. And lastly, I want to talk about leadership in turbulent times. How do I make sure that when things are really, really rough, that I know how to lead? The last thing that I talk about, and I love talking about because I think it really does change people's lives, is how do you coach selling in the field in real time? You see, what we've learned is that coaching is this very large term. And coach actually means private tutor. The question is, if I'm teaching and coaching selling in the field in real time, how good a private tutor am I? And what we realize is that nobody that we know of is teaching how do you teach and coach selling in the field in real time. And what we talk about is how do you as a sales coach become a catalyst for selling greatness. So that's why I speak, to ostensibly help people improve their lives, to help people get better, to get people to understand that there's greatness in them. And that what I tell my son every night before he goes to bed, Ryan, there's greatness in you. And tomorrow morning when you wake up, you have to choose to see this world positively. It's the only way you can excel. That's why I speak.